Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
What is going on, everyone? Well, I'd be lying if I said I didn't think that this game was set up for failure before it even began. The Philadelphia Phillies haven't played in how long? And then they're getting thrown into the New York Yankees lineup. And on top of that, oh, by the way, Gerrit Cole is on the mound. So it didn't seem like it was a recipe for success to begin with. So it is what it is. And honestly, heading into the game, it felt weird. Watching the game, it felt weird. It was almost as if, no doubt about it, it was going to be a loss. And that's exactly what it turned out to be. I will say, Jake Arrieta, it wasn't as if he had his strongest performance ever, but it wasn't miserable either. Considering what the circumstances were, I thought he did all right. And honestly, I would have went deeper with him. I would have threw him out there again in that sixth inning, and it just feels like, one, this bullpen sucks, no doubt about it. It's that simple. This bullpen is a dumpster fire waiting to happen every single time Joe Girardi goes to that bullpen. But it just seems like now, because of how many days off these pitchers had and how many games they missed and making sure that they're going through certain precautionary stuff so people don't get hurt, I'm not going to say they are throwing games, but to an extent it does feel like some of the moves is more about player safety than it is actually trying to win games. And I'm not saying player safety doesn't matter, but the reason why I felt they went to the bullpen is they want to make sure Jake Arrieta's safe, and they want to make sure that some guys out in the bullpen actually get to throw because they're not playing tomorrow and they got moved to a doubleheader on Wednesday, and some of the guys haven't been able to throw yet, and things like that. I just feel like they went to the bullpen just to go to the bullpen so they can get some guys to throw while giving Jake Arrieta a decent pitch count. And would they have won if Jake Arrieta went into the sixth inning? Probably not, okay? Realistically, it's not as if that was some game-changing move, but I just think the mindset at this point is more about not winning than it is winning, and that's where it upsets me a bit, that's all. I don't think they were going to win regardless. Before we dive deeper into the game, this episode of Sports Talk with Broads is sponsored by Orbit Energy and Power. They are home to your solar experts. We are talking about $0 electric bills. Going solar is so beneficial to your home, to your family, and to clean energy. I mean, it makes total sense. $0 electric bills. They also provide water purification systems, backup energy services, battery storage, and more. So visit them online. Their information is in the description. So for Jake Arrieta, he went 5 innings, allowed 7 hits, struck out 4, 3 earned runs, and 78 pitches. Now, he did allow a home run to start the game off. DJ LeMahieu took it for a ride. He also allowed Gardner to hit a home run in the bottom of the third. As soon as Jay Bruce in the top of the third tied the game up with a home run of his own, Gardner hit one opposite field, which was one of those New York Yankee type of home runs. I mean, this ballpark, you know how it is. It just seems like the ball flies out of there at will, specifically in right field. But when Gardner went to left field, it went on a ride and it went out of the ballpark and he gave up the lead instantly. I don't think that Jake Arrieta had a bad game. I think he would have been able to get through 6 and been just fine. And if you would have looked at his stat sheet after the game, if he did manage to go through 6 and allow the same amount of earned runs and was able to do his thing in that inning, you would look at it differently. And I think that he had a strong performance. I feel as if the organization went with Jake Arrieta because Aaron Nola will go in the next game. And what that allows the Phillies to do is get a better matchup, get a favorable matchup. Using Aaron Nola against Gerrit Cole, it gives you a fighter's chance, if you will, more so if you're not off for 7-8 days like the Philadelphia Phillies were. I'm talking more natural, where you're actually playing a baseball season that makes sense, and you have flow to your structure, and you have flow to your schedule, and that type of mindset. Aaron Nola would give you a fighter's chance, but would you rather utilize Aaron Nola in a spot against somebody else so then you can actually win that game? These games are meaningful, right? These games, you got to win these games. If you get swept by the New York Yankees, which can totally happen because they are that lethal, they have that great of a lineup, and they can pitch as well, by the way, in case you didn't see. So these games really matter. You got to find a way to win a game, win 2 if you're lucky. You can't get swept. So this will give the Phillies more of a chance than, say, Nola versus Gerrit Cole, because I would write that off, sadly, as an automatic loss in this type of circumstance. So I like the philosophy with that. Where I think that Joe Girardi made a mistake, as I mentioned, going to the bullpen in the 6th inning, and he brings up Guerra. And Guerra got rocked. 3-run homer. Are you kidding me? Urshela, bomb, crushed, murdered the baseball. What are you going to do? This bullpen, we knew it was bad. This bullpen is 3,000 times worse than what you expected. Maybe even 6,000 times worse than what you expected. Abysmal stuff. And every time you go to that bullpen, you know essentially the game is going to be over because they can't hold their own. Now, they allowed Adam Morgan to throw, Tommy Hunter to throw, Alvarez to throw, so they got some guys throwing. But ultimately, this bullpen is going to be the Achilles heel all season long. And I hate to use Achilles heel as an example here because of what happened to Soroka with the Atlanta Braves. If you watch the video and you watch the slow-mo as he's on the mound, you can literally see his Achilles heel pop in slow motion. It's so disgusting. Oh, I feel so horrible for him. I do. I feel so horrible for athletes that have to go through something like that where it is a brutal injury. You saw Jonathan Isaac of the Orlando Magic, not to get too sidetracked, but you saw Jonathan Isaac tear his ACL in that basketball game. The pain, it's just awful. You saw that with Soroka of the Braves. Huge loss for them, but I digress. Where was I when I was talking about the Achilles heel? Oh, the bullpen. The bullpen is the Achilles heel of this baseball team, and you're going to see that be a constant problem over and over and over again. I just would have went out with Jake Arrieta before I made a decision to go to that bullpen. I even tweeted it out. Joe, if I'm Joe here, I'm keeping him in the 6th. And then bang, there goes the big bomb that leaves Yankee Stadium. And then you had the rain delay, and it was just a snooze fest to an extent. It sucks. I waited so long for the Phillies to play again, and it was just a dud. And it felt like it was a loss before it even started. And I think that's fine to think that way. I don't think it's not natural, right? Unnatural. I don't think that it's unnatural to feel that way when you're playing a baseball game after how many days off, and you're going to the New York Yankees, are arguably the best team in baseball right now. I think it's fair to go, ooh, this is going to be a little concerning. You got the timing of the hitters being a problem. And I will say, Gerrit Cole, he was hittable. There were guys who did square up the baseball. I mentioned Jay Bruce's homer. Bryce Harper had a hit. Not only that, he roped one down first base, but there was a beautiful catch made, but he made solid contact. Some guys made solid contact. Rhys Hoskins, even though he went 0 for 4 and it's been a little bit of a shaky start for Rhys, he had one where he was this close off, just off, that went all the way to the warning track. But he did finish 0 for 4, so yes, I'm going to criticize him. Scott Kingery, another guy that needs to wake the hell up. He went 0 for 4. But how much can I crush these players? How mad can I be based off of what is happening right now in this world? Oh, they're supposed to play this team. Oh, specifically the Yankees. It was the Yankees after the Miami Marlins. Oh, wait, that's canceled. Okay, they'll play the Blue Jays. Oh, wait, that's canceled. There'll be a doubleheader on Saturday. Oh, wait, the whole series is canceled. Oh, they'll play New York. And now they already have tomorrow's game canceled. They haven't seen live hitting against real MLB pitchers on another team. Are they supposed to just be able to crank Gerrit Cole? I did say there were opportunities, and there were opportunities. But still, come on. I'm realistic at the same time. The rain delay sucked. After the rain delay, you did have Hastley knocking an RBI, Segura. I mean, what else do I have to say? I was waiting to see if Aaron Judge would crush another bomb. Before this game, he had a 5-game home run streak, a 5-home run game streak. Nope, a 5-game home run streak. And he had 6 home runs in those games. And I thought, no doubt he's going to crush Arietta. No doubt he's going to be able to just destroy him. You know, in this ballpark, if you are a pitcher like Arietta where you're all about the contact to get your outs, you're probably going to be in some trouble. And when you go up against a lineup like this, you're probably going to be in some trouble. Well, he held his own. But I was waiting to see if someone like Aaron Judge would totally murder and take advantage of Aaron Judge, and he didn't really, to be honest with you. He didn't really to some crazy extent, to the point where he added on to the home run totals, and the ball flew out of the whole entire Yankee Stadium and went all the way to Queens. We didn't get anything like that, but tying this all back together, when looking at the Phillies, Andrew McCutchen, he's been a little underwhelming. Now, granted, I understand his circumstance, coming off of the injury last year, being an older player, not playing in how many days, but he really hasn't popped like he popped last year during the time that he played. He hasn't popped yet this season, and he's been struggling a bit, struggling to find a way to get on base, struggling to swing the bat as well, so it hasn't been the smoothest transition from last year to this year for someone like Andrew McCutchen. Someone who is intriguing to me at this moment, it is Hazley. You know, I didn't really know what to expect from him. It did seem like he was in a good mindset when it came to that battle against Roman Quinn. And when you look at him play, when you look at his confidence at the plate at the moment, he has been putting it together. He had a multi-hit game performance before this game. I mean, he was rocking and rolling. He was barreling the baseball. He was executing perfectly at the plate, and that has transitioned and snowballed into this series, which is tough to do. It's tough to not see live pitching against a real opponent in so many days and then step in that batter's box and just be able to destroy any opponent that comes your way, these fastballs that are flying at you. Adam Hazley looks smooth and confident at the plate in this very moment, and I just wonder if he's a player that can be at the bottom of the lineup, that can help start the lineup back over and turn the lineup back over, or, as you saw in the one game against the Marlins where he did actually pop, can he lead off? I know there was a question mark when I saw the lineup. I said, are you kidding me, Joe? You're putting Adam Hazley at the top of the lineup. Is that smart? And then, boom, he puts 4 hits together. And if Andrew McCutchen's not going to be able to provide anything at this moment, is that someone who can be up there? But you still have Reese at the second spot, and that still eats me alive. I wonder if you can put someone like Jean Segura in the 2-hole. Rhys Hoskins is not doing himself any justice being a guy who's just thrilled with walking. And in this game, it was an 0-for-4 performance, so it wasn't like he was walking at a high rate. But I just don't think that he does himself right by being a guy who's accepting all of these walks all the time when he allows these pitches to just go by him that he normally would rock out of the park. He misses the pitches that he used to destroy, and I sit there and I cringe and I bite my fist and I start swinging my fist at the air, pulling my hair out, going, Reese, you would kill these pitches. Why? Why are you doing this to me? You would actually crush these pitches before. The lineup, though, very underwhelming. All around, very underwhelming. The lineup on paper, deeper than the production you're seeing. I don't like JT in that 4th spot, even though he had a couple hits today. In a big window, when it comes to a long period of time, I don't really like him in that 4th spot. And not that I expected Joe Girardi to walk into this Phillies team and fix the fact that this bullpen is miserable and fix the fact that these players aren't able to hit at times, because that's not reality. When we talk about the 76ers, a lot of people run to Brett Brown. I run to the players. The players play the game. That doesn't mean Brett Brown gets off free. I criticize him, but the players, like if Ben Simmons is bad, that's on Ben Simmons being bad. Well, when these players are in the box and they're swinging the baseball bat, it's on them to hit with runners in scoring position. It's on them to be able to execute. Joe Girardi can only do so much. Now, I can look at the manager, criticize certain moves, but ultimately, when it comes down to on the field, it's about what these players are doing on the field. So I didn't expect Joe Girardi to just walk in and be this fixer, who just fixes everything. Some of the moves to this point, I do scratch my head. Going back to the Marlins series, the bullpen, It's like he's being a player's manager and trying to get everybody a chance. And to an extent, I get it. It's early in the season, although it's a 60-game season, so these games are intensified by a lot. Although you can factor in there's more teams making the playoffs, so that downgrades the pressure a bit. At times, though, I just question what's he doing. And going to the bullpen and throwing in Guerra and throwing in certain guys and putting players in certain situations, like Rosso in that Marlins series. What's he doing at times? I'm not here screaming fire Joe Girardi. Let's not take this out of context. But he has had some questionable moves to this point. And I think that is fair to bring up. And speaking of questionable moves, Gabe Kapler, by the way, I love just ripping him apart. There was a moment, I guess at this point it was about a week or so ago, where he didn't know, I guess he didn't know the rules because he went up to the pitcher in the same at-bat and he wasn't allowed to pull the pitcher because his pitching coach already went up to the pitcher during that at-bat and he had no clue what to do and he had to say to the media that he made a mistake and he should have known better. And here's the San Francisco Giants media destroying him for not knowing the rules. It was just hysterical. I loved every minute of it. Speaking of poor decisions, speaking of managers. Oh, Gabe Kapler. I'll rip him anytime I can. No matter what, I'll rip him anytime. I don't care if he's not even managing or in baseball anymore and he's just a car salesman. I'll find a way to know what he's doing after the game of baseball because there's no way he's going to be in this league that much longer, and I'll criticize the way he does whatever's next just because I enjoy it. I'm all over the place. I do know this. Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler in the doubleheader. They can't get swept. I'll tell you that for free. They can't get swept. If they get swept, we're going to have a serious issue. They're going to be in a huge hole. You got the Mets, who Cespedes doesn't even show up to the ballpark and he opts out, and they're all over the place, right? I mean, I talked about how I'm all over the place. They're all over the place. They can't figure out any sort of flow ever, even though on paper they have a great team, which they do. On paper, they have a good team. It never translates to winning. You got Cespedes, and he's just opting out. Well, if the Phillies get swept by the New York Yankees, which is totally in play here, let's not be naive. If that is the case, we're talking Mets territory when it comes to that NL East, and that's not going to be fun to have that type of conversation. A split would be a huge win in my books. 1 of 4 would be realistic. Yeah, it's been an interesting ride so far with baseball. Now you have tomorrow off. Can't even get a flow of things. That's all I have for this game. I'm not going to push this one that much farther here. The Phillies lose 6-3. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for listening. Remember, this episode is sponsored by Orbit Energy and Power. They are home to your solar experts. $0 electric bills. This is no joke. It is phenomenal. $0 electric bills. No risk, no investment. Give them a call. Their information is in the description. Thank you so much. I will see you next time.